Hi guys, my name's Russell and I make race and guide videos for iRacing on YouTube. If that sounds like it might be your bag, then please do consider hitting subscribe and that little bell so that you get notified when I release a new video or go live on a live stream. Got something really quite different today. I'm not really sure what this video is. I think it's part review of um, AI and iRacing. I haven't touched on AI for almost a year now since it first launched. Um, and I guess it's also part tutorial of AI, but it's also uh, kind of part learning experience for me to see whether AI can really be used in iRacing as a practice or learning or development tool to help me get up to speed with racing. So I guess the inspiration behind this is my desire to learn a new car at the moment. I'm feeling quite kind of saucy right now, and I thought, I know, I'll pick up the Porsche 911 Cup and see if I can kind of tame it to the best of my ability. Now, some of you might already know that the Porsche Cup is an absolute beast, very challenging to drive, um, but once kind of tamed, it's apparently one of the most fun cars that you can play on the service, or pretty much anywhere for that matter, from what I understand. Now, I have had a little bit of a dabble in the Porsche Cup here and there, and I did note that for this week, at the time of recording, the Porsche Cup series is at Sebring, and I love Sebring. I want to learn the Porsche. Kind of makes sense to take the car there, not just because I know the track and I can concentrate on the car, but also because Sebring's very challenging. It's super bumpy. There's some very tricky turns that really throw the car off balance. So I thought it'd be a good test to really see what I can do with the Porsche. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to nip into AI. We're going to try and set it up a race so that we can emulate what the actual race conditions are out on the track, out on the live service this week. And then we're going to jump in and try our hand and see A, if it's any good, B, if I'm any good, and C, I suppose, if it really does help. So let's get on with it. We'll go into AI, and I think by default you are met by a sample season or two that iRacing provide. Um, there's a Porsche one here. It's an iRacing season. You can build your own seasons at different tracks with different cars or combinations of cars. We don't want to do that right now, but I think it's quite a cool feature that you can do that. Um, what we want to do is create a single race. Now, I've got this set to the all steps style. There is like a wizard that just takes you through a step at a time. I actually prefer the all steps layout. So starting at the top, now we've already pre-configured a lot of this stuff, but we'll run through it now before we load up the session. We've got Sebring, obviously it's the international layout for this week. The weather is set to generated and dynamic, as would be the case in a normal online race. You can pick your race sessions, you can set a practice for as long as you want it, qualifier, and obviously the race session itself. Now, I've already done a bit of practice. I don't need a practice session, so I'm skipping that. We're going straight into qualifier. We've got 2 quali laps that we can do, as would be the case in the real thing. And the race is set to 12 laps, which is, again, as it would be with the real thing. Um, you can set the qualifying conduct scrutiny, relatively new feature in iRacing that ensures people aren't doing donuts on the grass as they start their qualifying to try and artificially inject some heat into their tyres. In this particular series, in the Porsche Cup series, it's set to moderate, so that's what we're doing. The only thing I'm going to cheat on here, and really mainly for my own sanity, is car damage. I'm going to turn off car damage. I guess because partly because I don't trust the AI yet. I haven't really raced against them, so and also because I really want to get some practice done. Right, this is about developing my driving in the Porsche 911 Cup car. Um, I want to spend as much time on the track and out the wall as possible. So let's do that. It's a good thing. Obviously, we've pre-selected the car. Now, then it comes to setting your opponents. Now you can set an entire roster of opponents, and actually it's a super configurable feature um, I don't think gets enough attention. I think it's really cool, and I'll go into it a little bit shortly. But what we want to do right now is try and emulate an official race. So I've set the number of AI drivers to be 29 because a full grid of cars is 30. So 29 AI and me sorted. The next sort of challenging, and this is quite a tricky thing to work out, is the skill spread. So you can set this any way you like. Um, I've sort of had a bit of a guesstimation and a little bit of a play around with it, and I think around 65% to 95% is probably about right for me. Well, we'll soon see in the race. Um, but I think it's nice that you can, it's not just sort of easy, hard, alien. You can actually set a spread just like you'd find in an official race in iRacing. Some drivers are better than others, right? So that's what we can emulate here, which is fab. I actually think it would have been better instead of a percentage if they'd have used like iRating scales and based it on historical data or something like that. I think that would have been better because everyone's got an iRating, um, and it's a really good kind of way of dividing skills. So it's a shame they didn't take that path, but that's by the by. And then we come down to our. Actually, before we do that, let's talk about the roster. Let's finish talking about that, because it's one of the sort of key features here that I think is really cool and doesn't get talked about enough. But basically, you can tweak every aspect of your opponent roster. So if we edit the one that we've already got here, now you're going to recognize or you may recognize some of these names as being people that work either at iRacing or are friends of iRacing. Obviously, we've got Nim across there, somebody you really don't want to cross. And you know, obviously we've picked them all to be in the Porsche Cup because that's what we're looking to race. You can actually change all their paints, you can change their helmets, you can change obviously names and have various amounts of fun with that kind of thing. But actually, if you expand it out, you can change just about every conceivable aspect of their driving. So you end up in theory, with a really varied kind of roster of drivers that have different characteristics and behave differently. Uh, so in this case, John Henry, uh, the man with the big bucks, his relative skill is 92%, and why wouldn't it be? Um, so this guy's quick. He's not overly aggressive. He's quite a conservative driver, so he's going to give you room on the track, in theory. Um, Confidence or overconfidence is quite an interesting one. Um, if you're overly confident, you're more prone to error. So that's interesting. We've got things like smoothness, understeering, and oversteering. Obviously, in a car like the Porsche Cup, smoothness makes a big old difference. Age, so affect drivers' reaction time. I'm actually immune to the age thing. I've got fantastic reactions and I'm incredibly old. So let's ignore any of this age business. It's quite discriminatory if you ask me. Pit, pit crew skill level is quite interesting. If you've got longer races um, and you are pitting, how good is the pit crew? And you got to feel a bit sorry for John Henry here because his pit crew are shocking. And then strategy, riskiness. And I've never really played with that actually, to be honest, but it's probably not going to really come into play unless you're doing some pretty heavy oval racing, I would imagine, or a sort of long enduro on the road. So you can do all of that, and you can tweak it all, or you can just get iRacing to generate it for you if you can't be bothered. Who's our worst driver here? Let's have a look. Steve Myers, 5%. Now, I happen to know that Steve Myers isn't the best driver. Sorry, Steve. He probably wouldn't mind me saying it. But yeah, so this is probably pretty accurate actually. So there you go. That's quite cool. So that is our roster. I don't need to save the changes because it's already plumbed in and ready to go. And we're also ready to go. So let's load up and we're going to skip ahead, and I'll get my qualifying done and you can join me on the starting lineup for our first attempt at Sebring against the AI. Here we go. So I was just part way through qualifying and it occurred to me, iRacing don't make it particularly obvious or easy to understand what the race sessions are in terms of their settings. Obviously we went through them all in the AI race configuration wizard, and actually it's not obvious. If we go to the schedule for iRacing, the PDF you can download from the members site, we've come to the Porsche iRacing Cup section, and we go to the race that we want to go to, and in here is basically all the information you need. The date that the race is set on, like virtually in game, the time that the session starts, and we've got all these other key bits of information like dynamic weather, dynamic sky, the fact that it's a standing start, the qualifying scrutiny is set to moderate, those kind of, all that sort of data, 12 laps. So that's where you can get all that information from, plug it into your test session, your AI race, your hosted session, whatever it is you want to create, and then you'll get a fair representation of what you're going to get on the track. Now, we have qualified badly. In fact, we've qualified last. And that's okay, because I think it's going to be more fun this way. But one of the interesting things about AI, and that is fun to play around with, is the fact that you can jump through the sessions really quickly and easily. I can go to the previous session, so restart qualifying really quickly, or if I go to the race and I have like a terrible getaway from the line, which frankly is pretty likely, then I can quickly restart the race and it will restart within a couple of seconds, which is a really, really great feature, because in a lot of racing games, and I'm using the word games there purposefully, you have to wait ages between loading and things like that, and it's just not easy just to, take another shot at that getaway from the line.
The end of the session, B30.
So let's get on the grid. We are going to be starting from the back. I think I've got enough to take on and beat Steve Myers here tonight.
Temp is 28 Celsius.
I'm not going to tell
the track
you
temp is 29 Celsius.
how many times I've already restarted this
okay,
race.
Russell, nice and neat. Stay out of trouble. Go.
And my getaway still hasn't improved.
Car right. Clear right. On your right. On your right. Right side's clear. Car right. He's still there. He's still there. He's still there. Hold your line. Clear right.
There's a lot of cars in front of me here.
Still there. Hold your line.
No big crashes.
Hold your line.
Some movement in the cars, but
Still
I think
there.
it's safe to say that
Still
we're in
there.
an AI race, no doubt.
Clear right. Car right.
There's quite a lot of orderly queuing going on. I've
Still there.
literally just got away with that.
Incident in the hairpin. Looks like it's right side's clear. Right side. Clear right.
Right, we've got cold tyres. We must remember we've got
Car
cold
right.
tyres.
Clear right.
And there's one thing I know, the Porsche Cup, is the tyres at the start of the race are glacial. And it takes a fair amount of time for them to actually come alive. So what have we got? We've made up 6 positions. There's still an awful lot of traffic, and there's going to be for a couple of laps. Yeah,
Yellow
I should
flag,
imagine.
caution.
Right, come on, Dale.
Left side. Still there. Still there. Still there. Clear left.
That final corner. Sunset is a challenge.
Third place. Car left. Still there. Still there.
Whoa, there he is. Whoa! Went very defensive there immediately after the overtake as well. Got the better exit. It's going to make us go the long way around.
On your right. Clear right.
Oh, aggressive, aggressive, aggressive.
Car left.
They do tend to brake quite early, the cars,
Clear left.
but then they have good
Come on,
grip
Russell.
on the
Nicely
exit,
done.
so it's pros and cons. Right, let's see how we're doing against our best lap times. Right, dare we try this? I think we dare.
Left side. Still there. Hold your line. He's still there. Clear left.
We got it done.
Well done, mate. That was great.
What do we think?
21. On your right. Hold your line.
Oh, we got absolutely robbed there.
Car left.
Alex is having issues, you know.
Clear left.
Yeah, the AI are definitely very well measured in the corner. They're very much kind of subscribed to the slow and fast out methodology, I'd say.
Left side. Still there. Still there. He's still there. Still there.
Wow.
Clear left. Well done, Russell. Nice move,
Oh, I
mate.
don't know.
Left side. Clear left.
Yeah,
20th
we're in.
place.
We're in.
On your left. Hold your line. Hold your line.
Clean,
Hold your
hopefully.
line. your line. Clear left.
Oh, Russ.
Car right. Right side's clear.
God, my life absolutely flashed before my eyes there. Woo! Got to do it all again. Jennifer's getting defensive on Steve here.
He's still there. Clear left.
Oh no! The beauty of turning damage off there. So, I won't be doing that in the real thing. I'll tell you that for free. I've really eaten up my tyres. Just a few short laps. I think what's actually happened is that they've overheated, and I need to settle my driving down a little bit, I reckon. You have to be so gentle on the accelerator and the brake. It's just so easy to upset the car. While in your classic GT3 spread in iRacing, you can actually pretty much go full throttle as long as the steering wheel is less than a 90-degree angle.
Yellow flag, keep your wits about you, mate.
That yellow flag's a bug. In the Porsche, you've only got to look at the steering wheel to suggest you might turn it a bit at full throttle, and the car is screaming at you. So it's all about the balance, it's all about willing the car. Weight distribution, and Sebring is a really great test of all of that. The second you smooth out your driving, things get a lot easier. No danger from behind, as long as I don't make a catastrophic error.
Left side. Clear left.
There was no room at the end. Jennifer's been playing a great defensive game with Steve for the last 3 or 4 laps easily. I'm going to have to get a 2-for-1 deal if I'm going to get anything done here. Oh, and I think I might have it.
Car left. Still there.
Come on, Jennifer, give me a break.
Still there. Still there. He's still there. Clear left. Good pass. Now keep pushing.
Woo! Oh, Jennifer!
Car right.
Super aggressive on the defence there.
Still there. Still there.
Have I got it done? Have I got it done?
Clear right, B18.
Oh! They might just be zeros and ones, but I do feel like I'm getting a race here. It's a great way I'm finding to figure out where the good overtaking locations are and where the choke points are and danger points. Whoops. Ah! No! I think it's P20 for life, isn't it? Oh! Oh! I need some clean laps urgently. Well over 2/3 of the way there now. I'm asking too much of the car. And it certainly is the type of car that is not afraid to buck you off if you use the whip that a little bit too much. Oh. Even when you get it wrong, it feels good.
B20.
See if we can get a strong exit here. I think we have. Can't see Jennifer letting me up the inside though, can you? Whoa!
Still there. He's still there. Clear right.
Oh,
Come
she's
on, Russell.
surely
Push,
bitten
push,
off more
push.
than
We
she
can
could chew
catch
there.
this car.
Oh my word!
The guy in front is
Miraculous recovery there from Jennifer. Oh, I don't want to finish the race in P20. Such keen defensive driving.
car left. Hold your line. Still there. Clear left.
I pretty much pushed them out of the way there, really.
Great move. Keep it up.
They did back out when they needed to. Couple of clean laps. Get up to V18 with any luck.
E19, 2 laps remaining.
Heavily defensive line there.
Car
Wants
left.
me to go the long way. Oh, my word. Where's Nim Cross when you need him? He's in second place. That's where he is. Flashing my lights at Steve, I'll tell you that much.
There's an incident in the hairpin. It looks like Nash.
Oh, give me a freebie. Give me a freebie. Ah! Didn't even get that. Defensive, defensive.
Left side.
No, no, no. There's no room at the end. Come on, give me something. Give me something. Give me something. Oh, Jennifer's still hanging on there.
On your left.
Come on.
Clear left.
Really, really needed that
Russell,
there.
ignore that fucker in the mirror. Stick to your line. Nail those exits. Well done. Nice front now. P17. Last lap.
Oh!
Left side. Clear left.
No.
Car left. Clear left. Left side.
No! No, 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 no!
Clear left.
Ah!
On your right. Clear right.
He spun it. Sorry, Sam, but... Oh! I'm not sorry, I didn't touch the guy. And it's not real! Oh. Ah, that's it, I've done it now. Oh. At least I'm not P20. But Jennifer... slow and steady, incredibly defensive driving. It's really paid off. I think I've learned that I need to I have a lot to learn in terms of driving smoothly, keeping the tyre temperatures in check. I think it's going to be a really big deal. Much
Yellow
bigger
flag. Watch out.
part of racing with the Porsche Cup than I anticipated, actually. Oh, there's shadow flag.
P18. Okay, it's over. Well done, mate. Good finish.
I feel a little like I've aged during the course of that race. Oh, crikey. That was exhausting. But what have we learned? I guess we've learned that I'm probably not entirely race ready. I think I probably would have crashed and burned, maybe taken one or two people down with me, which is the last thing you want to do. I've kind of learned about where the overtaking opportunities are, where the choke points are, where where you need to be patient and where you need to be aggressive, and I think those are really useful things. I think the AI did surprisingly well in terms of taking defensive lines, taking opportunities. They were really, really good in side-by-side situations. They kept to their line. They pinched where appropriate. So yeah, I do feel like I had some good racing. AI have never been good at starting races, and they've never really been particularly great with congestion And I think the same is true here. But I think we can forgive it that. So in all, I do feel like it's really benefited me in terms of wanting to get out there and race online, not being ready, sort of using it as a proving ground, as a chance to kind of sharpen my battle axe, as it were. But I think there is a but, and it's a fairly big but. AI, despite being out in the wild now for a year, actually, just under, but yeah, basically a year now. You know, there's still not enough cars. There's still not enough tracks to really have it be that tool that I kind of so really want it to be. It just so happens that the Porsche Cup was in and Sebring was in, so it was a stroke of luck that I've been able to use it to practice here this week. No promises for next week, no promises for next season, and absolutely no hope if you're one of the tens or hundreds of thousands of people that drive GTE and GT3 cars, since they're just not available in AI at the moment. It's frustrating, but that's the situation. So anyway, that was something really different. Might have been complete rubbish, I don't know. It might not even go out yet. We'll see what happens. But if you did find it interesting, please do hit like on the video. Please do subscribe and hit that little bell. It really helps me reach iRacing players out there. So I appreciate that if you can do that. Have a great week, guys. If I don't see you before, hopefully I'll see you on the track. Cheers.